basanga amaso nyine yaraboze iringiri mbega basanga ryaraboze
ry'iburyo.
The purpose of human life is to serve, show compassion, and help others when they can't lift themselves up.
Reka duhere ku mazina yawe tubwire uko witwa.
Nitwa Tereza Nyiragato.
Yego.
She is called Teresa, an old woman that is living without eyes. Surprisingly, she does each and everything for herself, like cooking, digging, washing, and a lot more. She lives far in one of the village mountains alone. According to her, it was so hard in the first place, but as time went by, she started getting used to doing all these things by herself. And today, she learned to master them one by one, and this is how she is surviving. Teresa was not at all born like this. She was affected by this illness when she had grown up. She watched her eyes fall out. According to what she says, they were twins when they were born, and they were completely fine. As they were growing, Teresa was about 4 years old when she started feeling a lot of pain in her eyes. She tried telling her parents, but unfortunately, hospitals hadn't yet come to their village by then, and they did not know such things as hospitals. One day, they were in the garden digging. She couldn't believe what she saw. Her right eye fell out as she was looking on the ground. They carried Teresa back home, and her twin sister was completely fine. Everyone wondered how this was happening to Teresa. She was laid on the bed, and they tried using herbal medicine to stop the wound from bleeding, but this did not help at all. One of their neighbors who had been in the city a couple of weeks ago told them that there are people called doctors whose profession is to treat people with such incidents. So they all decided to take her to the city to meet one of these so-called doctors. They got in one of the cars that headed to the city. It was a journey that took hours, but they finally got there. They made an appointment to see a doctor, and this happened. They were attended to by a professional doctor, and when he looked at what was happening to Teresa, he seemed shocked too. He also hardly believed that an eye can fall out on its own. So he had to carry out a body checkup on Teresa so that he could know what was happening. But her eye was still bleeding in the inside. Upon the doctor seeing this, he was also confused. He said that the muscles that hold the eye had been rotting years before this had happened. And this explains the pain that she was feeling before. He had to cut the muscles before they had damaged other parts of the body too. Teresa says that in the process of cutting these muscles, he also cut one that was connected to the left eye too. but at this moment she was fine and everything was good news. Well, it wasn't good news that she had lost an eye, but the good news was that she had at least remained with one that she was going to use to see. They went back home, but they were all worried about the remaining eye. They had in their minds that what had happened to the right eye might also happen to the one on the left. They kept on having hope that everything was going to be okay, but it did not. She managed to grow up, but she was so insecure about the eye she lost. She used to keep hiding this from a lot of people. She managed to grow and became into a lady, but she had one eye. She thought that no man would ever want such a woman in his life, and this is when she met her husband. They fell in love and had 5 children together. They were all boys. After she had a family, this is when the worst happened. The second eye also fell out just like the first one did. They all wondered why this had happened after all these years. Since she was totally blind, she could not do anything for herself. This means that it was her husband who had to do each and everything at home for her and for their 5 children, which was something that he did for some time, but when he could not take it anymore, he walked away. Without both eyes, it was not going to be easy to take care of the 5 children alone. She struggled and went through a lot of pain, hearing her babies asking for food until they starved to death. And now she is left with 2 children, and 3 others died in the process. As years went by, she started getting used to this life, because she had to learn to do these things alone without anyone's help. Well, it took a very long time to learn how to dig, cook, and wash all by herself. But this finally happened, and she finally did. Teresa says that sometimes it becomes very hard to go to the garden by herself, especially when it is raining. In this case, some of her neighbors bring her food to eat, which is not easy at all, because Teresa lives a bit far away from the society. Learning these things alone was not very easy at all. She says that the hardest thing was to walk to the garden because in this area there are some deadly pits along the way that she sometimes falls in. This means that she must be extra careful when she is walking. Her 2 other children are also too poor to help her with anything, since they did not have a chance to go to school because Teresa couldn't work for money to pay for their school fees, and they all left for the city so that they could work as hard as they can to come back and change their mother's life. But they all failed. Teresa is going through a complicated life, and this is why she is requesting for help to at least get food to eat, because it is becoming hard for her to go to the garden since she is becoming old one day after another, and this is why she needs a hand. The funds that will be used to buy food and ease her life will be donated via GoFundMe, a link that is in the description of this video and pinned in the topmost comment by Afrimax English. It is well known that we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. Thank you for watching. My name is Prince. This is Afrimax English. Do not forget to subscribe.